Hey, Exile. It's me, Pat. Pat of Exile. The market, trading, things that represent, well, horrible things in real life. But in Path of Exile 2, the market is an inherent part of the game. Trading is fully supported, and there's ways of connecting you to people interested in buying you stuff. No true automation exists for big items, but currencies such as Divines and Exalteds can be done automatically through the game. As someone who came from Diablo 4, this is a brand new experience for me. I didn't really get to play a lot of Diablo 2 online, so I never really experienced the joy of trading or selling items to people. Sometimes I'd give items to friends, but that's about it. This video is for people who are not sure what they're gonna do in the market, how it can help them, and how it can improve the gameplay experience for them. Now, it's not all good, so we're gonna discuss both the pros and the cons, as well as how I use it personally, in that how do I make the entire process easier? Okay, this is for due diligence. I'm gonna define the market. The market is the official Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile, I guess, trade site. It allows you and other people to put up and buy items, which comes with positives and negatives. It also does not do this for you automatically. All it does is show you what people are selling and for how much. It does allow you to automatically message them instead of having to manually do that, after which people will hopefully reply to you. Then you join each other's parties, visit each other, and then initiate the manual trade. The game does not police this in any way, so make sure you're getting the right items for trade. In fact, the only way it polices it is that it won't allow you to accept the trade if you do not at least hover over the items on the other side of the table. So that seems like a lot, doesn't it? Sometimes people don't reply to you, and it can be a hassle just looking for an item. So if you're on the fence, I get it. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the market. The pros. I think the most important thing about the market, and the thing that makes me believe that it was designed as part of the gameplay experience in Path of Exile 2, is that it works as bad luck mitigation in a way. How many times have you dropped a great item that just wasn't for your class? Just wasn't for anything you were interested in ever playing, or at least playing in the foreseeable future. Something that might be perfect for you, but isn't an upgrade. Well, that's what the market is for. You don't get the kind of luck that is working for you? Well, the market will solve that for you. Or at the very least make it a little bit easier to get the item that you are looking for. Now, if you play a lot like me, it could be a shortcut towards gearing up new alts. Just look for the breakpoints or the level requirement for ideal gear and buy stuff that can tide you over until the next breakpoint. It makes that experience real smooth, especially if you don't really care for leveling, and I'm fine with it every now and then, but I wouldn't say that it's like why I'm playing this game. Like the levels 1 to 60 aren't the most exciting thing for me, but I digress. Third, and I think most importantly, is that the existence of the market gives you freedom to play. Let's say you want a Temporalis, but to do that, you gotta run the Sekima trial. Which, by the way, I have a beginner's guide on that if, you don't know what that's about. But you hate Sekimas. Maybe your character just isn't good at it. Maybe you hate the idea of the gauntlet. Maybe you just hate roguelites and Sekima reminds you of that. Maybe Balabala reminds you of a mother that never came back from picking the milk up. Or maybe it's the fact that you have to run a no-hitter to even get a shot at getting the Temporalis. I'm literally building something to do that exclusively, by the way, so I can maybe farm it? I don't know. Whatever the reason, instead of having to force your way to do that or giving up on Temporalis, you have the option of doing whatever you want. You can play whatever you want, do maps, run chaos trials, anything. Gain currency, sell items, and then trade for it. It'll be expensive, sure. But at least you get to play the game you want instead of having stuff locked behind game modes you don't enjoy. Right, Destiny 2? Now, I don't know if this is a pro, but it's not exactly a con, so I'm just going to put it in the pro thing. The fact is, as time goes by in any league, but mostly in the Standard League or Early Access League, it's just going to be full of items eventually. I can't speak for seasonal content, but Standard, someone will have something you want. And they'll probably be willing to sell it eventually, which is good. Unfortunately, trading, much like love, isn't all rainbows and butterflies. And while it isn't compromise that moves us along, it still has problems. Here are the cons. Yeah, there are cons to something that is entirely optional. And one of them is, if you do decide to go into the market, is to play the market, you have to play for the market. Cool items are opportunities to turn them into other stuff, but that means that you pick up a cool item, you are not using it. That's opportunity cost. I think I'm using that, right? Also, the fact that you have something cool you don't want and are willing to sell basically means you got your version of bad luck. But that aside, to play the market, you have to pay for the market, you need to sell stuff, you need to gather currency that you're not going to use. So what you're basically looking at is a mini job inside of the job. I mean, it's all recontextualization, right? But yeah, that's how it can feel sometimes. It's also not a shortcut in that you can remove all VARs. You still need to do VARs as previously mentioned. It just mitigates bad luck. Another issue is that it is also a market. People are gonna price what they want, and Lord save you if a usually cheap item becomes flavor of the month. All of a sudden, your 50 Exalt expense becomes a div, and wow, oh God save me. Being a market means currencies gain and lose value, and it can be very volatile at times, especially if you believe that bots are manipulating the market in one way or another. Another problem is people, not the social anxiety part, because you can work around that with a few tools or at least minimize it. But the fact that some of them aren't really willing to sell, or don't reply, or just feeling out what the price is depending on how many responses they get, or whatever. People can make a simple transaction a hassle. Lastly, I think, and I know you control the buttons you press, but engaging in the market fully can take the fun out of the game. I mean, buying an item is like the least exciting way to get an item. Instead of nuking a monster, you're looking at a shop. For some people, grinding is the joy of the game. I think that's all the pros and cons. Let me know in the comments below what else you think. Anyway, now I'm going to talk about how I use it. Not like literally, but just how I use it in general and where I feel it is time to go to the market. I primarily use the market to fill out builds. I don't use it to help level my characters until like level 50-ish, 60-ish, as early on I really want to get a feel for the skills I'm using and trying out. If I twink out an character too early, I don't really figure out if a skill is good. Any skill is good if you're over-geared for the content, and if you're twinked out, you can't learn anything. I usually use it for endgame builds when I really want to push something but don't have the item or it hasn't dropped yet. I also use the Path of Exile 2 overlay. It removes these social issues and also lets me do things from within the game. That's the examples I've been showing this whole time. Instead of having to alt-tab to a separate thing outside the game, which is, you know, weird and silly, especially if you don't have a 2-monitor setup. I'll talk about Path of Exile overlay in another video, but it's definitely worth a look if you're looking to up your market game. With a few clicks, I can get a deal and keeps track of what people want from me when I'm selling something, so I don't accidentally bring up the wrong item over and over again. That is rather helpful because I cannot always remember what I put up, where, where it is in my stash, and whatnot. So that's it. That's the video for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for passing by. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful to you. Now, you know what to do. Subscribe, go to Twitch and follow me there, and so forth. Panator TV on Twitch, Pat of Exile here. Also Panator TV here, but it's more VODs there now. But anyway, I am Panator. I'll see you later.